guys, I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 14 of Masterminds. I hope y'all enjoy. All right, chapter 14 is from Hector. I know that what people sometimes think of me. Too young, too small, too clumsy, too chicken. Well, I may be some of those other things, but I am not chicken. When Malik removes the access panel to the ventilation system, he practically loses his dinner at the prospect of going down that narrow, dark shaft. He doesn't think, I know he has claustrophobia, or maybe it's just the fact that he has a big behind and doesn't like to get it squeezed into tight places. Tori takes a small flashlight out of her pocket and shines it into the opening. The shaft heads straight down about 7 or 8 feet before splitting off in different directions. Somebody will have to stay on the roof to lower the others down by rope. I'll do it, Malik volunteers immediately. Fine, I tell him. I'll go in. You? Malik braves a laugh. You can't even ride a bike. Eli looks skeptical. I don't know, Hector. Maybe you'd better be off staying up here just in case Malik needs any help. It's going to be a tight squeeze in the ducks, and I'm the smallest. The plan is set. Malik waits up at the top to get us in and out, and the rest of us tackle the factory. I squeeze the cord until my hands burn as Malik lowers me into the ventilation system, leering at me all the way down. He knows how scared I am, and I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of being right. The others don't pick me to be part of this group. I had to sneak my way in. But now that I'm here, I'm going to prove that I can get the job done as well as anybody, even if we don't understand exactly what the job is supposed to be. I feel a mixture of triumph and dread when my feet touch the bottom. I drop to my knees and crawl along the passage to my left. The instant I'm surrounded by tin, the isolation is total, and I'd give anything for one last glimpse of Malik's trademark smirk. Eli lands next and quickly folds himself out of the way to make room for Tori. We're like a long caterpillar with me at the head and Tori bringing up the rear, wriggling along the channel. We seem to be on a level course. I get the sense that the ductwork must be directly under the building ceiling, but it's impossible to be sure. All we can see is Tori's flashlight beam is the dull silver tunnel. Then my gripping hand strikes a different texture, not the dusty smoothness of the tin, but a rough metal grid. My weight knocks it loose and it's falling, and at the last second I reach out and grab it, and suddenly I'm falling too. Terror blurs my vision, but I do glimpse a vast factory floor in the gloom of half-light. Part of me understands this information is useless to me. In a matter of a few violent seconds, I'll be on that floor, broken and dead. Illogically, my last thought is not of my parents. It's of Malik, who's going to miss me, even though he might not admit it. Strong hands grab my ankles, and Eli is yanking me back into the duct. I bring the grate up with me and fit it into place. I try to say thanks, but no sound comes out. I scramble past the opening, and Eli and Tori inch up and peer through the grill. Eli whistles. Man, Hector, you could have died. A brave and clever response dies in my throat. My mouth is still not working. Safe for the moment, we stare down at the factory floor. I see the orange first. Cones. A lot of them. At least a few hundred freestanding stacked on pallets and piled in a mound. Okay, I tell myself, still not thinking 100% clearly. We broke into a traffic cone plant and found traffic cones. What did we expect? Were we wrong about this place, Tori breathes? Eli is shaking his head. Is the factory exactly what it's supposed to be? Then my head clears and I realize what I don't see. Equipment. Machinery. What made all this, and out of what? There's no raw material either. I expand my view. 4 high brick walls with very few windows, a concrete floor painted battleship gray, a forklift, several folding tables, and a riding lawnmower. Beside that, a small step ladder that would reach about 3% of the way to the ceiling. There's a lunchroom area in the far corner, a vast shelving unit, largely empty except for the occasional flashlight or coil of twine, and for some reason a lampshade with no lamp. That's about it. No way, I tell the other two. This isn't a factory. It's a front for a factory. If they're making cones, they're doing it with a magic wand. Eli nods. No machines. And no plastic either, I add. How can you have a plastics factory without plastic? Tori's voice is shaky. What do my parents do all day in this place? This whole plant is a cover, Eli concludes, stone-faced. It's a big discovery, but our reaction is muted, not shock. It's sort of a relief, I guess, relief that we're not going crazy. Still, there's so much we don't know. But if it is a cover, I ask, picturing my mother painstakingly assembling her bag lunch to come to this unfactory, what are they covering? None of us have an answer for that. Tori peers sideways through the angled grill of the grating. That wall is too close, she says. I'm confused. Where would you like it to be? The duct should end where the factory does, she indicates the passage ahead of us. But look, it goes on at least another 40 feet, which means Eli clues in. There's something behind those bricks, a whole other part of the building, and we're heading straight for it, adds Tori. We resume our caterpillar motion. I'm still in the lead, crawling carefully around other gratings. One of them is just a few feet in front of the mysterious wall, so we have a pretty good idea when we've left the open plant and entered the hidden section. 30 feet ahead of us, a square of light beckons. I'm guessing it's some kind of room since it's brighter than the dim factory we've just come from. A minute later, I'm peering down at a regular office, a desk in front of a blank TV monitor. Although the screens are lit and running, the chair is empty. What is it? Tori whispers behind me. I squeeze past the opening to give her and Eli a peek. Some kind of security station, but nobody's there. Lily frowns through the grill. Security for a factory that doesn't make anything? Tori gives it her practiced eye. It's more than a 5 or 6 foot drop to that desk. I'm going in. It's no more than a 5 or 6 drop. I'm going in. I'm with you. Eli pushes up the grating, angles it, and draws it up inside the deck. Wait. That chair isn't there for decoration. You know, a butt goes in it, probably a purple one. What will you do if the guy comes back? Neither of them considers my question worthy of an answer. Before I know it, Tori is through the opening and lowering herself toward the tabletop. When she drops, it's only a couple feet to the desk. For Eli, who's taller, it's even less. Once more, I'm on the outside looking in, although technically I'm on the inside looking out. Should I stay up here, to help you guys back up? Yeah, that's probably a good idea. But then they start having a fit over what's on the monitors. What is it? I crane my neck out of the ceiling, and before I know it, I'm falling again. Floundering, I grab the frame of the duct opening and jump out to the desk. It's not as clean landing as theirs. I bounce off, hit the carpet, and roll. Not exactly Olympic gymnast stuff, but at least I didn't knock myself unconscious. There are 18 screens, each one showing a live feed from some part of Serenity. There's the schoolyard, Dr. Bruder's office, the general store and the restaurant. There's the park, a close-up on the Serenity Cup. No wonder they don't lock the case, Eli comments. The instant someone lays a finger on that thing, they'll know. There are several views of town streets as well as 2 shots of Old County 6. One to the west of Serenity, one to the east. One image seems to be out in an area of sagebrush. Spotlights illuminate a large helicopter parked on a concrete pad. There are 2 purple people eaters in the picture. One is Baron Vladimir von Horsteeth. The other, I don't recognize. He might even have been hired after Eli and Randy made the cards. The reality sinks in for all 3 of us. They've got cameras everywhere, I whisper. They're spying on us. Eli draws a nervous breath. It's a miracle we haven't been spotted sneaking out of the factory. Look, they've got one on the front door, but nothing on the gate. What about the route through town, I wonder? Tori's gaze moves methodically from screen to screen. You can almost see her putting together a picture of Serenity with the cameras superimposed on it. Pure luck, she concludes. We haven't tripped any of their surveillance. We have to retrace our steps exactly. I add, in fact, we should probably start right now. Not until we check on that, says Eli. He's pointing to an opening in the floor, ringed by a wrought iron railing. It's a tight spiral staircase winding down to another level. What about the guy from the chair? I protest. Tori sneaks a glance over the rail. I don't see anybody. Let's go. I follow them mostly because I'm too scared to stay in the room by myself. Even when we tiptoe, our foot falls on the iron steps with a gong-like sound. Downstairs, we step off into what seems to be some kind of publishing office. A large printing press dominates the center of the room. Eli nudges a computer mouse, and the machine's large monitor comes out of hibernation. The display shows the front page of the PAX. Dateline, tomorrow. The headline reads, Serenity voted number 1 in New Mexico for quality of life, unprecedented 14th straight year. Eli snorts. They ought to know how great it is. They're watching every inch of the place. There are always a few national and international news stories in the PAX, and now we know where they come from. The front pages are several well-known papers are up on 2 huge touchscreens like New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and a few others. Some of the stories have been highlighted, others deselected in gray. For example, in the Los Angeles Times, 2 dead in gang shootout has been nixed, but the piece directly above it, Celebrity Flower Shop opens, has been left intact. On the next screen where the Times of London is displayed, terrorist bombing rocks Mayfair has been cut. However, Buckingham Palace to get spring cleaning is totally okay. This is how the PAX chooses what to print, I whisper in awe, by taking out any bad news? Eli nods. They do it to the internet too. No Revolutionary War, just tea. Chapter 14, Part 2. But we learn about wars too, Tori reasons, and crime. Only as an example to show how much better things are here, Eli explains. The Boston Tea Party was a rebellion. Think about the essential qualities: honesty, harmony, contentment. Nothing about questioning authority or fighting for your rights. All the more reason we should get out of here before anybody catches us rebelling, I beg. Tori points toward the spiral staircase. There's another level below us. Didn't you see it? We're pushing our luck. But Eli and Tori are already tiptoeing that way. I'm getting really scary, but I follow them to what seems to be the bottom floor. At least this is where the steps end. It's a large circular conference area, dimly lit. The rounded walls are made almost entirely of whiteboard material. These are covered in photographs and note cards, hundreds, no thousands of them, pinned up by small magnets. Tori shines her light on a section of the wall. The shock begins in the base of my spine and works in a northward until I hear a buzzing in my ears. It's me. My first baby pictures, toddler shots, photographs of me at every age, right up to this year's school portrait. Some of the prints and notes are faded, curled, and yellowed with age. At the top of the board is a large label spelled out in block letters. Osiris 11, Hector Amani, born 2/15/2003. Osiris? It's my whole life, documented in detail. How much I weighed at birth, how long my mother was pregnant with me. There's a picture of her as a younger woman, feeding me in a high chair in a high-angle shot of our classroom that seems to show me angling my test paper into Malik's field of vision. There must be hidden cameras at school. More, my academics record, behavior charts resulting of medical tests, brain scan, 7/29/2005. I had a brain scan? There are medical printouts and graphs I can't even begin to understand. Notes scribbled in my parents' handwriting. Mr. Frieden, Dr. Bruders, Mrs. Laska. IQ, exceptional reasoning skills, emotionally immature, socially awkward, vulnerable to intimidation. Incident report, subject took extra brownie. Extra brownie? Are they serious? There are dozens of these reports, maybe hundreds. Subject failed to reveal unfair advantage in recreational tests. It's dated Serenity, 2011. Has everything I ever done been under a microscope? And why are they calling me subject? The beam swings away and I'm left staring at the darkened wall. Hey, I was reading that. Oh my God, exclaims Tori in a hoarse whisper. It's me. And you, Eli. She pans the wall. 11 Serenity kids are chronicled in vast collages of pictures, papers, and notes. Each display is just as thorough as mine. Amber is there as well. She's Osiris 6, and also Malik, Osiris 3. Eli has a top spot, Osiris 1, whatever that means. But there's no Randy, no Stanley Cole, no Melanie Brandt, no Fowler twins. How come not everybody's here? Eli's voice is strangled as he quotes from Randy's letters. Some of us are special. He takes out his iPad and circles the room, meticulously photographing every whiteboard in the long conference table, which is covered with papers. I don't feel special. I feel violated, invaded, and extremely creeped out. I feel like I'm some kind of lab rat. Tori is visibly upset. Don't try to make sense of this. None of this makes any sense. I'm supposed to be Osiris 9. It's on notes signed by my own parents. What's an Osiris? I'm so gobsmacked that I've forgotten where I am and what I'm doing. At that moment, my mind is boiling of a whirlwind of questions. One question, really, why? Why have 11 kids been studied since the minute they were born? That's when we hear footsteps going on up the spiral staircase 2 flights up, and the fear returns in a skipped heartbeat. The purple butt that fits in the video station chair is on its way down. I look around in desperation. A single door leads to the main factory area. Eli beats me to it, so he gets the bad news first. It's locked. We can make out the jingling of keys now and a gruff voice humming a tuneless melody. It's like all the worst case scenarios rolled into one. In a few seconds, he'll be upon us, and we've got no escape. Eli and I stand there looking helplessly at each other. His eyes flicker toward the conference table, the only available hiding place, but it has no glass top. But it has a glass top, so the guard would have to be blind and stupid not to notice hunker down underneath it. I'm coming to terms with the fact that my life is about to change in a fundamental way, and not one I think I'm going to enjoy. My mind reels. Is there a way out of this? Over here, Tori hisses in a barely audible voice. She's squatting at the wall beside an air conditioning register. The grate is off, and she's motioning us into the duct. I'm so frozen that Eli practically has to drag me. He crawls into the opening, pulling me after him. Tori scrambles in last, crushing my legs, and replaces the grill behind her. Through the grid, I see boots topped with purple cuffs on the tile of the conference room. That's how close it is. Another couple of seconds and we would have been too late. We're out and he's in almost in the same instant. We cower there, listening to him clearing his throat. We don't even breathe, much less move. If he hears us, we're cooked. The boots issue a sharp report. Crack. With every step on the tile floor, I feel each one inside my skull, a series of jarring knocks against my brain. But are the footsteps becoming quieter? I peer through the grating. The guard is walking away from us. With her finger, Tori gestures above us. At first, I don't understand, and when I finally do, I wish I didn't. The duct we're in is an offshoot of the ventilation line we crawled across on. It is plumb line vertical. In other words, the only way out of here is by climbing straight up through a featureless metal tunnel without so much as a single handhold, and we have to do it silently to avoid attracting the attention of the purple people eater on the other side of the wall. Above me, Eli presses the rubber sole of his shoes into the sides of the tin passage and lifts himself a few inches, pushing outward with his hands to jam himself in so he doesn't fall. I can't do it, I whisper, but I have to be so quiet that my words don't reach the others. Tori's already shoving me from below. I try to say no, but I don't dare produce any sound. I realize in horror that I'm going to have to do the impossible because there's no way to refuse without giving away our presence in the duct. It's the most grueling, exhausting, painful, and unpleasant thing I've ever attempted. Once we've made it up a few feet from the bottom, warm, slimy droplets begin to rain on me. Eli's sweat. I realize that I, in turn, am sweating all over Tori, who deserves better. Not only is she climbing herself, but she's boosting me ahead of her. About 10 feet up, we reach the print shop level. Gingerly, Eli eases the grating out of the wall. Did you catch that Dodgers game last night? Comes an adult voice. A flash of purple fabric passes by the opening. A second guard. Eli is so startled that he drops the grating to the tiles. In that instant, the entire world grinds to a halt as we freeze inside the duct. They heard us. Yeah, there's a real pitcher stool. It all came down to that squeeze play in the bottom of the seventh. 3 kids have never been so perfectly still and soundless. Somehow, in their baseball conversation, the purples missed the clatter of the grating. Miracle. Carefully, Eli fits the register back into place and we climb on 1 inch at a time. I'm getting better at this, but not much. The agony in my shoulders is excruciating, and the effort to keep my sneakers jammed against the sides feels like if I'm being torn into two like a wishbone. It's an unimaginable ordeal when you can't allow yourself so much as the luxury of a groan. Eli passes the outlet for the surveillance monitoring station. He doesn't even consider exiting there, not with 2 purples at the scene. Still, 10 feet to the top, a new worry begins to nag at me. We're now high enough that if Eli slips, he'll wipe us all out permanently. It's a very long way down, the equivalent of a 3-story building, and it's only becoming longer. I can tell when Eli sees the end in sight. He speeds up, and if you can use the word speed to describe our snail-like progress. Whimpering with exertion, he hauls himself into the main passage and reaches down to help me. I swear this is the scariest part, to be so close with the danger of falling very much a possibility. The walls are slick with perspiration. My body is a single blinding ache. And then I'm there, lying flat on my face with the cool metal. Never could I have imagined that simply being horizontal could feel so glorious. I can't move. Tori has to climb over me, digging her sneakers into my back. I barely notice. There are degrees of pain, and this one barely registers after what we just gone through. Gonging footsteps on the metal stairs indicate that the purples are on their way up. I grasp the problem immediately, but Eli and Tori haven't figured it out yet, and there's no way I can warn them, not with the guards so close. I squeeze past them in the tiny space. The next time Malik calls me shrimp, I intend to tell him about this moment. No way could somebody his size have managed it. There it is in the duct ahead of me, the grating we removed to climb down to the security station. If the purples happen to look up, they're going to see a hole in the ceiling where the grill is supposed to be. The gonging sound is very close now. They must be right at the top of the stairs. I can't risk crawling. It would make too much noise. In desperation, I launch myself forward, belly sliding along the passage. Without stopping, I snatch up the grating, reach it down through the opening, and then pull it back into its position just as 2 purples appear at the top of the stairs below me. One by one, we slither noiselessly over the security station, clutching our guts during those terrifying seconds we spent exposed directly above the guards. Once we're past, though, moving forward instead of up, it seems as easy as a stroll down Fellowship Avenue. We cross over the factory floor and soon reach the main feed from the air conditioner on the roof. Chapter 14, Part 3. That first glimpse of night sky is the most beautiful sight I've ever laid eyes on. Then it's gone, and Malik's big ugly mug is blocking the view. Actually, he looks beautiful too. Anybody would. What took you so long, he rasps. Not now, Eli groans. Get us out of here. Malik drops the rope down to us and we climb up to the roof. The second my feet hit the gravel, my legs collapse under me and I sit there, cross-legged, weeping. Are you guys all right, says Malik. He seems pretty frazzled himself. could have been easy waiting up here all alone, wondering what he would do if we didn't come back. I'm not sure any of us are all right, Eli says wearily, but this isn't the place to talk about it. Trey puts an arm around me. It's okay. But it's not okay. It might never be okay. Come on, Hector, Malik chides. Get a grip. You get a grip, I want to yell at him. You didn't escape by the skin of your teeth like we did. You didn't see what we saw. Blinking back tears, I look at Eli and Tori, who heaved me up, dragged me along, and never once considered leaving me behind, even when my clumsiness slowed us down and threatened to get us caught. There's no way I could have made it without them. Then I picture myself skimming across the duct and resetting the grating in the nick of time. My shoulders straighten a little. There's no way they could have made it without me. My mother's words from long ago come back to me. I'm valuable. Think of the conference room and wonder, valuable how? And that's the end of that chapter. Oh, this is getting so good. All right, guys, we'll read the next chapter tomorrow.